friends, and welcome to another episode of the Woldenburn Podcast. My name is Emily, and I'm coming to you from Kentucky, where I live with my husband and our two beautiful little boys. It has been a long time since I have filmed a proper podcast video. I filmed several little vlogs and things here and there, but I looked yesterday, and the last time I uploaded a proper podcast was July 31st, but I had filmed that podcast like 2 weeks earlier, so it has been like 3.5 months. I have felt a little bit overwhelmed by the thought of filming another podcast because I have a backlog of like summer things that I finished over the summer. And so I decided that we're just going to kind of start with a fresh, clean slate. I'm going to share with you 3 finished objects that I have finished recently, and I'm going to share with you the 3 main works in progress projects that I have going at the moment. And we're just going to kind of start afresh. I have a tiny little special yarn acquisition to share with you, and that's about it. We're going to try and keep this fairly short and sweet. I have my sweet, chunky little monkey 2.5-month-old baby down here on the floor with me, so you may hear his hiccups. But he is just chilling. He had a wonderful cozy nap in the baby carrier this morning, so he is happy and good to go. You'll come say hi. He's just a little squishy. Yeah. While my toddler is taking his nap, I thought I'd take opportunity of this time and quickly try and film a podcast. So hopefully this little bubba will stay nice and happy down here. Alright. With that being said, let's dive into it. First off, I wanted to share before I forget and before I take this off, because it is getting a bit warm. I am wearing my Lowden vest, which is a pattern that I test knitted earlier this year for Rebecca of the Claremont Podcast, and it's just this really pretty vest. It's got these lovely detailing or cables all over in it, and honestly, it has been such a fantastic and wearable piece for me. I am absolutely going to be knitting more vests because, especially in this season of my life where as a mom and with my hormones still shifting and stuff from postpartum, wearing a vest that doesn't have sleeves, so nice. It's so nice. It's just warm enough without being too warm, and it's also really, really perfect for this time of year when, again, you have these slightly cool days, but they're not really cold enough for a full-on sweater. I have already worn this probably 4 times in the last couple of weeks, just because it's just so wearable. So that is what I'm wearing. It is definitely going to be coming off once I finish this video, because today the weather's supposed to get up to about 80, so it's already just a little bit too warm for it, but I wanted to wear it for the podcast. So let's jump into some finished objects. I have been test knitting up a storm, which I vaguely remember doing this after my first baby was born. I don't know what it is, but I just am in the mood for test knits. So, bless you. Bless you. Bless you. The first one I want to share is the Claremont Mittens, which is a pattern by Amy Lowden of the And Other Knits podcast, and she is also one half of the team at Dandelion Dogwood Yarns, and I have been following her for years and years and years, ever since before she was into knitting, since before I was really into knitting, back when she was doing a lot more sewing stuff. That was how I found her, because I had a sewing blog, she had a sewing blog, and so I have wanted to test knit some of her patterns for a while, but unfortunately for me, her sweater test knit deadlines are a bit too short for me to feel comfortable signing up for them. But when she put out a call for the mittens, I was like, this is perfect. I can test knit a pattern for her. It's got a very reasonable test knit deadline. And ta-da! So these are just some really simple mittens. They have this lovely cable detail all the way down. And then this is the button loop, because there's the pocket, so that you can take this and you can button it on the button and have it out of the way. And then you've got a very nice pair of fingerless mitts. And then like that. That's really nice. And then for the thumb, you've got this ribbing here that you can fold up if your thumb is getting cold, or you can have it folded down for, again, the fingerless mitt aspect. And yeah, It's just a really lovely, such a practical accessory for me, especially at this time of year. I am trying to get some exercise in, get some walks in with the boys, and so when I'm pushing the stroller and stuff, I think that these are going to be so nice. And yeah, so I have both of them here, and the yarn that I use is Yarn Bee, or it's Baby Bee, because it's in their like baby selection section. Sweet Delight in the Woodland Elderberry colorway, and I think it's just so pretty. I did not try to make these match at all whatsoever. They've got cabling and stuff going on, so I was like, it's fine. And I love them. I think they're very soft and squishy and cozy. And the really nice thing about this yarn is a blend of acrylic and polyamide, and you can throw it in the washer and the dryer, which I thought was a really good thing for mittens, because mittens can often get dirty because they're on your hands. So that's the first finished object I have to share. The next one is the Among the Shadows cowl. This is a pattern by Kellen Kinnersley Designs, and I used a single skein of fingering weight yarn held double throughout. This was just a really fun, bright, poppy, punchy colorway of yarn. I got it in a swap last year, and it's Frolicking Feet by Done Roving Yarns in the Berry Bush colorway, and it's a 100% superwash merino, and it worked absolutely perfectly for this cowl. And this is just so cozy and snuggly, and honestly, I am just in love with this cowl style, with this the bandana cowls. I think they're so wearable, and I can see myself knitting a lot of these because they're just cozy and they are so warm. Oh my goodness, like I was wearing this for a walk the other day and I had to take it off partway through because I was just I was getting so toasty. But yeah, it's a very simple cowl with this. It's a little hard to see in this yarn, but it has this stockinette garter ridge detail and then ribbing at the bottom. And this is the same designer that did the Pretty Little Cowl pattern, which I have knit 4 versions of so far and have plans to knit more. And it's constructed the same way. You cast on, you work a bunch of increases, increase, and then when you get to the appropriate number of stitches, you stop increasing and you just work straight, and you work the stockinette garter ridge detail and then the ribbing, and then you block it and then you seam it together at the back. And I just used a mattress stitch. And yeah, it's just a very simple, fun pattern. So mindless. I love these patterns because I can work on them while I'm walking around in the yard, watching the toddler. I don't have to think about it because it's a 2-row repeat for the majority of the cowl with the increases. So I can just work it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I worked it on straight needles, and yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's a really lovely pattern. I do think that these patterns are fantastic gift knits because they're so quick and easy, and I love that they are such a good use of those random single skeins of yarn in your stash that you don't really know what to do with, but you want to use because you love them and they're beautiful, but you're not sure what to use it for. So that's finished object number 2, and then the third finished object that I have is the Garternet Baby Romper, which is a pattern by Sandra. Again, I have no idea how you pronounce her username, so I will have that linked down below, but this is just a sweet little baby romper, and yeah, I knit the 0 to 3 month size, and I used Barocco Vintage Baby DK in the Mallard colorway, and this yarn is a blend of, oh goodness, acrylic, nylon, and wool, I think that's what it is. It might have something else. I don't have a tag with me, but yeah, it's just a really sweet little romper. You may notice that the buttons up here and the buttons down here do not match. That was because I had these 3 buttons in my stash, and then I thought that I would be able to go and get the same ones. Well, I wasn't able to find the same ones, so I grabbed these, and I was like, close enough. It'll be fine. Because I'd already stitched these ones on. And so I didn't want to mess the switching them all out. Really? You okay? Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, really lovely pattern, really simple. I love that there are instructions for working it either flat or in the round. I knit the flat version, so you knit the front panel, and then you knit the back panel, and then you seam them together along the sides. And yeah, it's really quick, fun, simple, easy, fantastic little baby knit. Okay, now let's jump into some works in progress. And like I said, I only have 3 that I'm going to share with you today because these are the 3 active projects that I have. So the first off, I'm going to show you a pair of socks that I'm working on. I have been participating in the, I think it's like 24 and 24 knit along being hosted by Dandelion and Dogwood Yarns, and the goal is to knit a pair of socks every month, or finish a pair of socks every month throughout the year in 2024. And so far, I have managed to keep up with it. August I was Kitchenering the toe on the 31st of August. Like, I was down to the wire. And we're about at that point for this pair of socks too. I'm really hoping that I can keep it up for the rest of the year because... Oh, are you okay? Because I've done so well so far, and I've been wanting to... Now he starts protesting. Yeah? Hold on here. You just want me to hold you. I was ignoring you too much. Here you go. There you go. I've been wanting to do that where I knit 12 pairs of socks in a year for a while now, and I just haven't gotten around to it, so I'd really, really like to continue it through to the end of the year, but we'll see. Really? Are you gonna cooperate? Or have I used up all your happy times? But yeah, so I am knitting this pair of socks. These are going to be for my husband. They are being knit out of Patton's Croy yarn, and I have done a contrast heel in a another Patton's Croy colorway, but I don't know what the name of it is. I have the ball band for the regular one. It's blue striped rag is what it says for the main colorway of the sock. So I have the first one done, and then I am chugging right along on the second one. I actually worked a good bit on this this morning. So I have maybe about half of the foot done, and then I've just got to finish that up and do the toe. And I think I can get that done in the next 3 days. It is October 28th today, so I've got 3 days left before the end of the month, and I think that I can finish the other half of the sock before then, hopefully. And I am just following my standard sock knitting recipe with this, which is 56 stitches on US size 1 or 2.25mm needles. Typically, for Patton's Croy sock yarn, I find that most of the Patton's Croy yarns that I have used are thicker, and so honestly I would need to decrease the number of stitches I cast on, because otherwise the sock ends up too big. But I have found that some colorways of the Patton's Croy sock yarn actually knit up like typical fingering weight yarns, and some knit up like a sport to DK weight yarn. It just depends. Well, this ball just happened to, it's knitting up like fingering weight, so I'm just using my standard vanilla sock recipe. So that's work in progress number 1. And then I have another test knit on the go, and this is the Stick Season Jacket by Rebecca of the Crea Bear Podcast. And can't tell if my toddler was just making noise. I hope not. I am just chugging away on this. This is a beautifully textured cardigan pattern. He might be awake, which is not what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be asleep. Was it? Anyway. I am doing the all over textured version, and I'm knitting this for my husband. So I have joined joined under the arms, not joined in the round because it's a cardigan, so it's worked flat. And then I have worked, what, like 4 or 5 inches? Probably 4 inches of the body. And yeah, I'm loving it. I love Rebecca's patterns so much. The attention to detail, they're so easy to follow. The designs are impeccable. Like, they're just lovely. I'm knitting this out of a 100% acrylic yarn. It is the Big Twist Value yarn from Joann in the cinnamon colorway. And we were at Joann at one point because I needed to grab something else. And we were looking at it. And both my husband and I loved the color. So I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'll get some balls of this and I'll make something for him at some point. And it has worked perfectly for this project. It is a 100% acrylic, but my thinking is that I will make it with this cheaper budget-friendly yarn, and then if we absolutely love it, I can get some nicer yarn and make him a nicer version. So that's the plan for that. And then the last work in progress that I should mention, with the 6 season jacket, I'm knitting the 5th size. It should have a finished bust circumference or chest circumference of about, it's like 50 inches or something. I'm basing it off of one of my husband's favorite jackets. I took the measurements from that, so that's why I picked that size. And the last thing that I'm working on is another cardigan for my husband. This is something that I have been wanting to make for him for a long time, and I had a different pattern that I was using, and then I found this pattern. I cannot remember the name of it. I meant to look up the pattern before I started filming, but that didn't happen, so I will have it on screen. But it is another cardigan, and I have just what's it called? Split for sleeves. That word. I have just split for the sleeves, and I have worked like one row after that. And yeah, I'm so excited about this. I will say this is not my favorite pattern that I have ever knit. I think it's a contiguous design or increase method, and I don't love it, if I'm being honest. There are so many little sections where it's like you have to increase it this rate, and then you switch, and now you have to increase it this rate, and now you have to increase it this rate, and now you need to do this, and now you do this. It was a little bit of a slog to get to this point, but now that I'm at this point, I can just carry on. I don't have to constantly keep referring to the pattern. Like, it's just a knit. There is supposed to be a purl stitch, like faux seam detail along the sides. I'm not doing that because I just do not want to be bothered. I just want to knit and purl and not worry about that. So I won't be doing that. My plan is that I'm going to knit like 2 or 3 more rows, and then I'm going to pop it onto a try-on cord and try it on my husband, because I'm a little bit worried that it's massive. And so if that's the case, if it's a bit big, then I want to rip out back to the underarm split, and I will cast on fewer stitches, because it has you cast on a lot of stitches, and I would probably be more comfortable casting on half or even a fourth of how many they say to cast on. So that's my plan. I'm going to have him try it on, see kind of if it's as big around as it feels like it is, and then go from there. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm knitting this out of the Lion brand, what's it called? Wool Ease Recycled in the royal blue colorway. And this is a blend of 20% wool and 80% recycled acrylic. Oh, it's recycled acrylic and recycled wool. So yeah, so far it's been really fun to knit with, and I'm really looking forward to getting that done. For that one, I am knitting the 4th size, and I'm using size 6 needles. For the 6 season jacket, I'm using size 9 needles, which I believe are 5.5 millimeter. And then for this one, I am using US size 6 or 4 millimeter needles. So those are my active works in progress that I have going on right now. The 6 season jacket I need to get done by the middle of December. I would love to get the blue cardigan done for my husband before Thanksgiving. His birthday is shortly before Thanksgiving. I would love to get it done for his birthday. I don't know that that's realistically going to happen, but I would like to get it done before the end of 2024. So hopefully those two will be pretty quick. And I have a little yarn acquisition to share with you. Recently, a couple of my husband's brothers went over to Amsterdam, and when I found out they were going over there, I was like, hey, there's yarn stores there. You want to pop in and grab me some yarn just to have some special European yarn? And they're very sweet, and they were obliging for doing that for me. And so they grabbed me a couple different kinds of yarn. So they got me this one, which is Lang Yarns. It's Merino 70. It's a superwash merino. They got me 2 50-gram balls. It's 70 meters per 50 grams. And it has a color number, which is just like 733.0115. And this is 98% extra fine merino and 2% polyester. My toddler got a hold of this one. So it's looking a little sad. But it's just this beautiful, like, from what I can tell on my camera viewfinder, it's looking a bit more saturated on screen than it is in real life. It is a very lovely, like, rusty red. And I was thinking that this might be a really lovely, one of these kind of cowls. Like, oh, it would be so pretty. So I'm pretty sure that's what this is going to end up being. So I have 2 of those, and then they grabbed me 2 of these, which is the durable socks. It is 2 50-gram balls, 75% wool and 25% polyamide, in the color 321 or navy. And it's just like a classic sock yarn. It feels like kind of those like rustic, like nicer sock yarns. They feel like it's going to last a good while. I'm excited about this. I think I may use this for a colorwork sock pattern. I haven't done any like proper full-on colorwork socks, but there's this one pattern. I cannot remember who the designer is, but it's this little mouse that's holding up like a leaf, like an umbrella. This child is flipping over. Where are you going? He's having fun though. I'll try and see if I can pop a picture up of the pattern that I'm talking about. It's a pattern that I bought maybe last year, but I have been loving it for years. I think the designer is Gray Owl Knits or something. I love that pattern so much, and I realized that for something like this special, this is yarn from Amsterdam. It was a gift from my brothers-in-law. I think it would be really nice to pair this with another yarn and make those colorwork socks. It's not happening anytime soon. Maybe I'll put that on my make time board for next year. But I think that's what I'm going to try and do, because I think it would be kind of boring to just use this yarn for like a plain vanilla pair of socks or even a textured pair of socks. I feel like it needs to be something special. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh yeah, the yarn store they got it from is Hooksin Yarn in Amsterdam, and this is their information. And yeah, I'm really happy with those yarns. It's one of those things. I watch a lot of British or European knitting podcasts, I guess. Not a lot. I watch a few. And they talk about these different yarns and stuff. And so there's a few different European yarns that I would love to use. Like the Phil Kalana Arvetta. I would love to get my hands on some of that. Just because I've heard so many people talk about it so positively. But yarns like that are a lot harder to get over here in the States. And they can be kind of expensive. So it was really lovely for them to bring me back some fun yarns that I've never tried before, and they're like pretty common European brands. So yeah, I'm very grateful that they were able to grab that for me. But yeah, I think that is about all that I have to share with you today. I'm trying to think if there is anything else I wanted to mention. I always feel like there is. And I'll be editing the video and I'm like, oh, why didn't I mention that? Yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will be able to get podcasts up more regularly now that I've kind of broken the ice and started afresh. I won't feel so overwhelmed. But we'll see. One of my favorite knitting podcasts is Knits by AJ Addie, and she does a weekly podcast, and she does it every single week. And I just love that. I wish that I had the time for that, but I probably don't have enough knitting done every week to do a podcast every week. But I would love to be able to do it like twice a month at least. But who knows? We'll see. I'm a busy mom with 2 little boys. But yeah, that's all that I have to share with you for today. Thank you so much. Ow! Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.